Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Black Mirror 3. So, we got chased in the woods by two gigantic looking wolves, and we might be hallucinating them, or we might not, but we're in this shack house, and I guess I'm gonna try and barricade the door, and I suspect I might find a dead body in here and get blamed for that murder too. So, well, you need to see, we've got a lot of things here. Let's see if we can push the box in front of the door.
A box that's just rotten away. Don't want to know what's in that.
Padlock.
A padlock of the really sturdy variety.
A bucket. This is probably the groundskeeper of the churches.
That isn't the toilet. That almost looks the same as the shredder in the museum. There's something lying in it.
Oh, this is the... they're saying it's a shredder, but it's the leaf shredder, not just like a paper shredder, which would make more sense to me. Rake.
A rusty old garden implement.
What else do we have before we stick our hand in the shredder? Now, in the previous game, looking in the shredder, we saw all this blood as a flash, and that was like the first horrific thing we saw, and then we didn't see anything else scary for quite a long time. Let's go and stick our hand in here and die.
It's soft, damp, and cold. Yuck.
Alright. We have a door to the shed. Isn't this the door? So there's two doors?
A file. Huh. The escape tool of choice. In the comics, at least.
See, I don't know if I'm supposed to use the rake to barricade the door. I guess the game has just decided that I don't need to barricade the door. Just
oil lamp.
Closing it would stop wolves.
Maybe it still works.
If we could find some oil. What was the soft wet thing we got? Let's use the lighter on this, see if it lights.
Oh, that's better. I can see now. A spectral ghost, ghostly woman. What the hell?
Who also can knock on walls. There's all kinds of footprints everywhere.
Damn, don't say somebody lives here.
Let's have a luminous
couple
sticker.
Of luminous smiley stickers. Whoever lives here must be scared of the dark.
Are we gonna take those? Apparently not. Was this where the boy lived?
A peculiar shadow. I think I know where that mysterious shadow's coming from.
A key.
Well, how about that? And so the key falls into my possession.
To open, I guess, this. We're doing a lot of things right now. Getting a lot of stuff and a lot of garbage in the inventory.
I'm guessing
out of nowhere.
Thinners or gasoline for cleaning stuff. Ugh, smells something like that at least.
Yeah, it's very weird that the game all of a sudden is going to have us
creak loudly.
Do a puzzle with so much items when we could have been picking up items throughout the entirety of the rest of the game up until this point. We've easily doubled what we had in the inventory spot. Alright, we're gonna open this.
Fits.
And dead body.
As I thought, full of junk. So let's have a look. Damn. That looks like one of the robes and the masks from the order that was after me. But at the same time, It's also proof that the order existed. I'll take it with me.
So somebody from the order lived here.
There's some paper in the robe. Seems to be a letter to the order. Quite badly torn. Unable to stop the evil, already sacrificed. His objective, or something happens to me. No trace is to be...
So maybe this is a case of
I'm not completely
somebody...
certain, but it appears to be a request to cover up all traces of the order. That would explain why the robe is in the shack. I'll put it back. Perhaps I'll find something useful after all.
Maybe there was a double agent in the order trying to stop Mortis,
A corkscrew and a
or
yardstick.
whatever his name is, from
They
being
look in
resurrected.
reasonable shape. I'll take them. Whoa, chainsaw. I've got a feeling that this baby's gonna come in handy.
This is ridiculous. This feels like a joke at this point, that they're gonna hand me so much stuff. I think I'm gonna get caught by the police and they're just gonna end up taking all this stuff away again. Let's look at the door to the shed.
Another door. Let's see now. Was kinda obvious. There's storage behind it for logs. It stretches right to the door. There's no getting through here.
So I don't know why it would want me to be able to interact with that. Let's look at the bed.
There's something lying under the bed, but I can't get at it.
Something, not someone. Let's try to rake with the bed, I guess. Not really seeing the rake being animated.
Gotcha.
This is just a lot of stuff. Way too much stuff. Okay. And corkscrew in the shredder? No. Cardboard box. Let's look in that.
Cardboard box. Somebody scribbled something on the lid. I can't decipher it. The word definitely begins with an R, though. Let's take a look inside.
What's this rodent? Robert?
A rag doll. Pretty ugly and worn out. I recognize it. I've seen it before. It was Ralph's. Yep, that's his doll. Mr. Bubby, or whatever he called it. Strange. How'd it get here? And why has Ralph left it? He never used to go anywhere without it. What else have we got? A luminous sticker with a smiley on it. And a cork from a bottle. This must be Ralph's shack. Or his hideaway.
Wasn't really expecting that. We're gonna do something horrible to Mr. Bubby. I don't know how I'm supposed to get this out.
No thanks. I don't really want to know what's died in there.
Okay, so you just could click on it twice.
I've got what I wanted. The floorboards here sure creak loudly.
So are we supposed to chainsaw the floorboards?
There's no gas in the chainsaw.
Okay, well, gas and the chainsaw then.
The tank's just about half full. Hopefully that'll be enough.
And now chainsaw the floor.
I filled up the chainsaw, but the tank's lid is missing. I don't think it's a good idea to start it up as it is.
So we need, what, the cork and the chainsaw?
Alright, that ought to hold. Now we can get going.
This is such a crazy puzzle to
The
have so
rotten board
many
shouldn't be a
items.
problem for the saw, but I ought to check what's underneath them first. The floorboards here sure creak loudly.
Corkscrew with the floorboards, I guess?
won't be able to manage that. I'm gonna need a bigger tool.
File with the floorboards?
The file is worn down. At the very most, you could file your fingernails with it.
See, do we have anything else that might be of consideration as far as usefulness?
A rag doll called Mr. Bubby, Ralph's best friend.
Let's see what happens when we cut down the door.
I can't cut my way through the whole wood storage with the little bit of gas I've got.
I don't think I can just walk out the door. Let's see.
A folding ruler. 1 or 2 sections are missing, but it still must be at least 1.5 meters long. One of those stickers that light up in the dark if you first expose them to enough light. I guess that this must be a pretty valuable item to Ralph.
Let's see.
The floorboards here sure creak loudly.
I don't think there's anything else I can do. And we don't really have a new quest. Oh, we do. I've taken the things anyways. I'll come across him sooner or later and I'll give them back to him. Let's see. So, walk out the front door and die, potentially, after saving the game? Or do we want to... Let's see, I can look at the floorboards.
Floorboards here sure creak loudly. I can't get out of here. There's only timber back there.
Start a fire with the timber. Start a fire with the floorboards. Seriously? That's what we're gonna do?
There's a hell of a draft through the gaps in the boards. This shack's obviously not built on solid ground.
Was that what I needed to do so I can then do this? I guess it is.
The rotten boards shouldn't be a problem for the saw, but I ought to check what's underneath them first.
How else would I...
I won't be able to manage that. I'm gonna need a bigger tool.
Let's just try every single item before we decide to leave.
Interesting. There's at least 1/2 meter of space below the boards. The shack must have been built on stilts. The next time I'm being pursued by hellhounds and hide in a shack, I'll look out for that as I go in.
So I guess that was important information. Can we cut it now?
I'll just cut myself a trapdoor in the floor. It can also be closed again in an emergency.
Boy, the music seems to have changed rather drastically. Like it went from you did good and you figured it out to here's some scary music again before the first song had even finished.
Sneak outside through the hole.
Alright, so we have a hole in the floor, door to the shed, and for just a safety save, we'll make one, and let's go and see what happens.
Good. Let's try it. I'm better leaving the heavy junk here.
And so he's leaving the saw and nothing else. That's fine. And they've just hidden the hole you cut behind the wall, so they didn't animate any of that. Well, wait a minute. If that's all that there was to it.
No wild beasts for miles.
I don't get it.
Weird. No tracks. The beasties couldn't have just disappeared into thin air. No.
And yeah, he's just gonna pass out and we're gonna wake up the next day. Act 2. Yeah, we're about, I would say, 45 minutes longer than I would have expected or wanted for Act 1. If this what took place was a completely different character at a completely different time and completely different place, I'd be grateful. What's this? Is that from when he was a kid?
Describe what you saw.
I saw myself as a child. I was playing with my sister in the woods. It's not far away from the castle. I could see it behind the trees. There was a man there, too.
Could you make out who it is?
No, he had his back to me. But something very bad has happened.
What's happened?
My sister, she's fallen in a hole. She's screaming. What should I do?
Adrian, you're not there anymore. Remember what you did at the time.
I ran to the hole, and I don't know. I can't remember. You woke me up before I could help her.
I didn't wake you up, Adrian. You woke up of your own accord. It would appear everything in you is trying to fend off this memory. Seems you really want to suppress it.
Or I just can't remember.
That's like the second time this psychologist has coughed.
It's easy for you to say.
Perhaps you should tackle this memory in
You
a
wouldn't have a
conscious
voice
state.
actor cough.
Try and find the place in the woods that you
coincidentally.
saw. You need an anchor in the present.
If you say so.
And with regards to the hallucinations, I've ordered a medication. It should help to suppress them.
Very good. I'll take it. At least you can rely on conventional medicine.
Please take this prescription and give it to a buyer in the shop. She'll give you the medication.
So...
she's a pharmacist, too?
This is going to be crazy.
In a little village like this, everyone has more than one role.
We got to that area, and it didn't matter at all. We just have now a whole bunch of things in our inventory. This is our first opportunity to be around in this area, so let's look at everything.
My adoptive mother had a lamp like that. I always had fun hiding in it when I was a kid.
It'd be interesting if the psychologist mentioned or commented on everything you saw or said.
Dr. Winterbottom's lighter. Quite an expensive one. I guess it was a present.
So maybe she started the fire.
Dr. Winterbottom's notebook. Probably very revealing. At some point she'll be able to write her memoirs with it.
Interesting, she'd just have it laying on the table.
Whenever I'm here, the ashtray is full. Dr. Winterbottom smokes like a chimney. Perhaps she should be in therapy. You could hardly call this straggle of flowers a bouquet. Today's newspaper. There are probably lots of new, unbelievable revelations about the arsonist in it. I wonder if the record of our discussions will end up in there. A Native American dream catcher. It's supposed to protect you from nightmares. A Newton's cradle. The ball passes on its
just a
momentum
whole
to
bunch
the
of
next,
junk to click on for no
passes
reason.
it on to the next until it reaches the last one, which can't pass it on any further and is kicked into the air. A simple example of kinetic energy, but its only use is to work this toy.
So we've got the green notebook and talking to her.
Winterbottom writes down a patient's dreams in the green books, but I haven't seen anyone else but me here yet. Strange.
And apparently we can do something with the waistband at some point, but interesting. I guess I might be able to also use items with her.
I don't think that Doc Winterbottom and Mr. Bubby would get along.
Let's see. Can we take her picture? Nope. Let's talk to her.
Doctor?
How can I
We've
help
got a
you?
lot of conversation we're gonna have to go through.
Do you believe me?
Darren, Adrian, we've gone through this so many times before. Of course I believe you.
Then why am I still on the hit list?
I'm a doctor, not a judge. By the way, they rejected the assessment of your not being of sound mind.
Rejected? But what about the awful nightmares?
That kind of reaction is only normal, Adrian. If somebody suddenly revealed to me that I was descended from a long line of bloodthirsty murderers, I'd have nightmares too.
So she's saying you're sane, or she thinks you're crazy,
How come you ended up here in the first place?
but she can't prove it.
A colleague of mine I'd known from my student days, a doctor, Heinz Hermann, once worked here in the sanatorium. He was a friend of the Gordons.
Everybody's
Then,
related.
12 years ago, those dreadful murders took place. Heinz was one of the victims. I came here to give his family and the others a little spiritual support, and I'm still here. That's just how life goes sometimes.
Is it true that Spooner was sent here as a punishment?
Yes, I've heard that too.
What did he do then?
As far as I know, he overstepped his authority back in London, and that led to some guilty people getting off. Or maybe the other way round. However, I'm not exactly right in the picture with all this.
Oh, great. A bad-natured investigator who can't tell the difference between guilty and innocent. I couldn't have come up against a better guy. Get this. I've been released on bail.
Well, that's a good reason to celebrate.
I'm not quite so sure. The bail was paid anonymously. You know anything about that by any chance?
Anonymously? No. Who'd do something like that?
No idea. To be honest, I'd hoped you were behind it.
No response to that.
You like living in Willow Creek?
I wouldn't be surprised if it
Yes,
was
I like
Tom
the life
or
and the
somebody
people.
else that wants him dead.
It's like time stood still here.
And every few years, along comes some psycho and murders half a dozen locals.
Yes, well, compared to the murder statistics in London, it's a proper holiday here.
Still
Do
a
you
lot
see
to
me as
talk
being an
about.
arsonist?
Judging by your nightmares, you do at least seem to have a violence-orientated imagination.
Yeah, but Stephen King has that too.
As far as I'm aware, he has never been under suspicion of an arson attack resulting in 3 dead.
Whose side are you actually on?
On your side, Adrian.
Good. I swear to you that I've only ever told you the truth.
There are as many truths as there are people, Adrian, and we still have to find yours.
What can you tell me about Warm Hill?
Well, not a lot, really. It's a little hamlet that belongs to Willow Creek. There are only a few people living there. Most of the houses are falling apart. I think it's where all the miners used to live.
I imagine what's going to happen here is now that it's a new day, I'm going to have to go back to every single location and see what the new puzzles are and what the new goals are.
Do you know Ralph?
Ralph? No. Who's that?
Oh, not so important. Something strange happened to me last night. I don't know what was real and what wasn't.
Tell me about it, Adrian.
I was just on my way back to the village when I was attacked by large black dogs in the woods. Fortunately, there was a shack close by, which I was able to hold up in. I couldn't get back out through the door. Once I cut my way outside,
I didn't even
door
try
with
to
a
leave
chainsaw, there were no signs
through
the
the
dogs
door.
had been there at all. Then I fell unconscious. Supposedly, Murray found me there in the middle of the night and brought me back to the hotel. But I can't remember any of that.
A classic dream of repression. The black dogs, and then... there's nothing there. It's a deep-seated fear of the consequences of your actions.
What do these black dogs mean? What kind of creatures are they?
Fleeing from vicious, aggressive dogs. That sounds like a typical nightmare. It expresses the fear of one's own aggressive side. Were the dogs alone, or was someone with them?
No, they were alone. Just the dogs.
Dogs who roam around without a human master suggests a suppressed issue with dominance. It could also suggest exactly the opposite, though. That the dreamer is neglecting a particular part of himself, which is alluded to by the nature of the dogs. What breed of dog were they?
No idea. Hellhounds? They were definitely huge and black.
Large dogs reinforce the meaning I was talking about. The fact that they're black would suggest their origin in the subconscious.
Are there any tablets I can take for this?
Tablets as in pills.
I saw a woman dressed in white. Almost looked like some kind of wedding dress.
Where did you see her?
When I was locked in the shack, from the window, she was standing on the edge of the clearing. She saw me and then disappeared into the woods.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get back to where the shack is and it's totally missing or burnt down.
Perhaps. She certainly wasn't just wandering around. It almost seemed as though she was looking for something.
Really? There's a legend here in Willow Creek about a white lady who wanders through the woods looking for her child. In vain, as the story goes, but no one has ever seen her.
Until now.
That's a weird story. Who's telling the tale, then?
That's a completely natural reaction to this myth. It originates from the collective longing for a pure mother figure who can be adored like a saint. Out of the whole thing that there are chosen ones who perceive her apparition. And everyone wants to be a chosen one. That's just human.
You've got an explanation for everything, haven't you?
Psychology is the modern theology.
Catch you later.
Take care.
Alright. So, unless I'm supposed to look in the waistband.
The record of our discussions will end up in there.
Like, I don't know if I'm supposed to throw something in the trash. Start our fire, trash on fire. Let's just get out of here.
My head's still pounding. Lucky that Murray found me in the woods yesterday. I probably would have frozen otherwise. I should get this medication as soon as possible. And I could ask the inspector whether Murray's finally corrected his statement. And I've got an appointment with the priest, too. It can't be that difficult to find my father's grave. Oh, and I should find that ominous place in the woods. Enjoy it, Darren. It's gonna be a long day.
So let's see if we can get in the museum before we go off this screen.
There's a poster hanging here.
A few days' time. Okay. Let's go over the bridge. Get the pills. Start searching every place again. Act 2. Seems like it's going to be a lot like Act 1. With just ever so slightly changed things. I don't know. Does the green mean I can take their picture? No?
Closed. Strange. The shop was still open this time yesterday.
Alright, well we can't get the pills. Then what else can we click on? We could call the psychic, I guess, once per day. We probably should. Just to get a hint on how the game is going to end. And then we're just going to have to go through everything. It kind of sucks, though. Like, it doesn't feel like we're going to open too many new areas per chapter. So we'll probably, for the most part, just... Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we open 2, 3, 4 more locations in total Maybe we'll get to Act 3 and go to a completely different location. That would feel about right. But there's going to be a lot of repetition here. And certainly the reason why I think there's so much repetition is we've seen a very large amount of animation that really didn't need to exist. There was one animated scene where I was just running from dogs for like a second that didn't really need to be there. That could have been animated in 2D. All of this 3D stuff could have been animated in 2D to save a lot of production time. And the writing and the story, maybe it plays off better in the original German than it does in the English translation. So maybe that really isn't an issue, but that doesn't change how these puzzles are. These puzzles are bad and boring, and it seems like it's a completely different team in charge of making the puzzles because they just appear. The fact that we ended up in the shed and we had everything up to here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces of inventory, which, let's face it, some of these we barely are going to use. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, 6, at least 6 pieces of inventory in the shed, doubling it. Now we've gotten this. Actually, I guess we had this and this also, so we didn't quite double it. But yeah, that's just, it's getting really, really hard to want to continue to play this game. If I wasn't so overcommitted because I've played the 2 previous ones, I wouldn't be playing this. I'd be bored. I am bored. Like, it's really hard to find anything critical or positive to even say about it. And it's not an awful game. At least it runs, and compared to the previous game, it's just meh. Well, and I've heard the reboot is also very much like that. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist, or you can support me through Patreon. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.